Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you are subscribed to the Substack DaftOnDraft.football, where you will get access to all of these charts on Google Drive for every quarterback in the class, access to insider information on the Discord channel, film rooms every single week, live chartings every single week, big boards, positional rankings, more and more. So make sure you are tuned in. Welcome back into another episode of the Daft on Draft podcast. As always, James and Corey here, and we are here on the heels of the national championship. Indiana comes through with the win over Miami in this game. It was a slugfest, 27-21, closer to what I predicted than what James predicted for this game here. It truly was a slugfest. Indiana pulled through. Freaking Indiana won a national championship, and I'm happy to share this podcast with a born and raised Indiana fan. James, take a moment, man.
Man, it's surreal. Signetti is truly a visionary. Never would have expected that that I would be a fan of a team that, I mean, won anything, because I'm a Titans fan as well. So I know poverty franchises and poverty teams, but I'm just glad that at least they got one. So now it's like house money moving forward, you know?
Yep.
If they would have lost this, the hardest thing would have been like, man, this was kind of the window. But luckily, I don't even have to entertain that thought. And yeah, excited to break it down from an NFL draft perspective, because there were obviously a lot of highly drafted players on the field.
Yes, there were. Man, again, this is instant reaction. Obviously, we haven't digested the tape because the tape isn't out yet. So where do you want to start this conversation with? I feel like, okay, actually, I'm gonna hijack. I just asked you where you
D'Angelo Pons was what I was gonna say.
Oh, I was gonna start with the Khalil Benson Carter Smith situation.
Oh yeah, start
but
there.
If you want to start on a high note, we can start with
I think pretty definitive answers on both of those.
Yeah, so if Carter Smith was looking forward to this game as his opportunity to decide if he's going back to school or not, yeah, he got a pretty definitive answer, I think, and that's, go back to school.
Yeah, did he have? I didn't notice. This will be. I can probably talk more in depth after the tape watch. I noticed the one play where he gave up a sack. That one was kind of tough, because it was one of those where he definitely got beat a little bit, and then Mendoza backs out of the pocket, so it changes the angle, and it can kind of make it look a little bit worse. But yeah, I think in general, just like I think Carter Smith is a firm like back to school, regardless of this game. But wouldn't surprise me if there's some losses on tape. And then I mean, the right side was just like, I don't think Indiana could have held on to that lead for much longer, because they physically could not drop back and pass the ball. So and a lot of that had to do with the right side. I mean, it was just the broadcast seemed to only like acknowledge Ruben Bain's existence. I heard about Mesidor like when he got the sack, but that was about it. But they kind of just took turns abusing Benson. Well, it was Benson, but mainly 72 Johnny, the backup that came in and was getting worked.
Yeah. So in this game, Carter Smith, well, going into the season, Carter Smith had not been charted for a single sack all season, and had only been charted for 6 pressures. In this game, he was charted for 2 sacks and 4 pressures.
Yeah.
In this one. And again, that's just PFF's early live charting data that we're using, because again, the tape's not out yet. But yeah, I think that's a pretty firm back to school. Another guy that was on the edge of going back to school.
Can I say one more thing on Carter Smith?
Go for it. Yeah.
I think in today's college football landscape, and there's obviously different ways of building a roster, but I almost think it's kind of like a college basketball thing, where like Carter Smith and D'Angelo Pons are the guys that you want, where they don't quite have the NFL traits to leave early, but they just like stick around and you get a bunch of experienced players that way. Because I mean, you get Carter Smith coming back to school on this team. That's with what they already have on the offensive line, that's pretty outstanding.
Hey James, I'm gonna, as an Indiana and a Titans fan, I'm gonna break some more news for you. The Titans just hired Robert Saleh as their new head coach.
Thank God.
It wasn't not Matt Nagy. Not
Oh
Matt
my god,
Nagy.
yeah. Hey,
So
that
you get two bouts of good news for you tonight, my friend.
yeah, I'm good with that.
All right,
That
let's
that
yeah.
is very welcome news.
Oh man. All right, let's move back to another player who it kind of felt like might have been on the fence and in the opposite direction from that Indian offense. Like, okay, there's the good chance that he's heading out. Like, you can't leave on a higher note. And that would be Omar Cooper Jr., who again is just a junior. He could go back if he wanted to. Um, in this game, uh, I thought that he was gonna have a touchdown on that slot fade as well. He got kinda held up on and then couldn't find the football, but, he did a lot of work after the catch in this one. They bailed him out bailed that offense out a lot in this one because they couldn't pass protect, so they just had to get the
Yeah.
ball out in space and let their receivers kinda do the rest, and Cooper did that in this one.
That it was one of the first Indiana offensive plays of the game where he made the first defender miss. Like
Mhm.
that start stop, that was Luther Burden-esque out in the flat. Yeah, I'm really interested to see if he decides to return. I've kind of felt this way all year, but it was a relatively rough performance for Elijah Surratt, probably one of his
Mhm.
his worst of the season. Not that this game would be the deciding factor. I think Cooper is just a much better separator against man coverage, but they're obviously two different roles. So I think different teams could have each player different graded differently.
Yeah, I'm pretty firmly like with Surratt, I already had a separation grade lower, so maybe not because, like, his body control is really good. And then, like, he does all the little things, but he just can't get freaking open. And that it was really rough today for Surratt, but, uh, again, if he were eligible, Charlie Becker would be the first drafted wide receiver on that team
Definitely,
anyway.
definitely.
Like, it's probably time to start entering summer scouting, time to start talking about Becker as, like, a top 4, maybe top 3 wide receiver in next year's class. Obviously, there's Smith and Coleman who are gonna be the top 2. I think that I feel confident saying that on January 20th at midnight that we're gonna be talking about Jeremiah Smith and Cam Coleman. I'm really high on Omarion Miller, but, like, I think that uh, Miller and Becker could be in that next tier for me.
Yeah, I can't really say for sure because I haven't gone through Cam Coleman's tape very much this year. But yeah, I think Becker, like having watched him, I would say early second to late first round grade heading into next year is where I'm at.
Yeah, I mean, he can burn, he's got body control, he plays through contact at such a high level, like
Yeah,
you have to with the understanding that like and maybe it might just be because he does this at Indiana and maybe he can do more than just a vertical route tree, but his route tree is pretty vertical
hmm
for the most part. So, I mean, if you can look through that a little bit, this guy's spectacular. And again, you hate to you hate to comp a white wide receiver to another white receiver, but like the Alec Pierce comp is pretty easy to make with this one.
yeah, it's so easy. Yeah, pulling up Becker's route tree. He's running a post on 20.2% of his routes, a go route on 18.4% of his routes. So yeah, pretty, and then a lot of hitches, some overs and outs. He has shown the ability to snap off breaks and separate as an
Mhm.
intermediate route runner. So I think that can be a more expanded part of his game next year.
Yeah, I think so. I think so as well. Um, but we probably won't see it in that Indiana offense. Anything else from the Indiana? I mean, obviously Mendoza. We got to talk a little bit about. I thought Keelan Black was pretty strong in this one too.
Yep.
Um, I thought Hemby was pretty rough. I saw him run into the
Yeah.
Memphis blockers quite a bit in
Oh
this
yeah.
one, but Keelan Black was good for them in this one as well. Um, but yeah, Mendoza, this is gonna be a hard like, what do you make of this one? Because, like, from the live broadcast, it looked rough, but also, like, there were times near the end of the first half where, like, he was literally snapping the ball and immediately throwing backside shoulder like, immediately just like, "I gotta get the ball out," because he knew somebody
Right.
was coming. So, it's a hard one to evaluate. What I did notice, though, the Becker 4th quarter one, um, was the most notable one that I thought that for once, like, the only time this season that those kind of back shouldery kind of throws were leveraged a little too far inside, almost consistently too. So it felt like he was sped up a little bit. They showed his like forearm after the game, like doing the post game stuff, and his forearm was like all shredded up because he spent so much time in the dirt in this game.
He's gonna have
Um,
some battle scars for sure.
yeah, yeah, he will. But again, when they needed him to come through for the most part, he came through that heroic touchdown run will stand out in like college football history. Because that was a 4th and 5, and to do that was like, yeah, okay, that's why you win the Heisman.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing how much Mendoza has accomplished, and like really how much better his body of work is like after winning the Heisman.
Mhm,
Just when you look at it as a whole, obviously this wasn't the best game from a passing perspective. With having not gotten into the tape, I would initially just credit that more to Miami's pass rush and them having basically like only being able to use RPOs to pass the ball. Um, but yeah, on some of those earlier plays, like I would just need to see what he had open down the field
mhm,
to really say for sure. Not his sharpest game. Like he did miss a few throws. Even that one, there was one. He did two back shoulders to Becker, right? One of them
mhm.
I actually thought was a little bit too far outside. I think the final one maybe where he was kind
Okay.
of had to work back on it to the sideline, but yeah, I mean, I like a B minus performance from Mendoza. It's hard to say, like maybe B minus from a draft perspective, but
Right,
obviously, like college football, I mean, you make that legendary run. Like I'm not,
right,
I have no
right.
complaints.
And from a draft perspective, we're talking about a quarterback in a one quarterback class right
Yeah,
now.
yeah. I mean, what? Yeah,
What is going to happen to his stock by this game? Oh no! Like who cares? I think FanDuel has him at like negative 7,000 odds to go
right.
first overall right now. Like that's overwhelming odds to go first overall. Um, so we should probably spend a little bit of time on the Miami defense. We've talked about Bain and Mesidor, both as advertised in this game. Um, I actually watched Mesidor's full tape and wrote up his eval. I'm not quite as high on him as an overall prospect, but he does have some really fun DPR-ish kind of traits, especially at
Mhm.
272. His ankles are unbelievably flexible for a 272-pound dude. So that's a lot of fun to see. I just wish there were more consistent pop, especially on early downs. But fun player.
Yeah, I definitely the lack of power for his age is just
Mhm.
the biggest thing that's concerning to me. And I see him get mocked in the first round. I still think that's pretty steep. But to me, the standout player for Miami's defense was Ahmad Moten, who I'm fascinated to see if he declares. But I mean, he's got like I could say like maybe it's an off chance. It wouldn't shock me if he was DT1.
Interesting. Interesting.
Because I mean, when I compare him to Peter Wood's season, I think NFL teams like if they look at it with no preseason bias, which they will, I think might prefer Moten's tape over Woods. He's got better traits. I mean, Woods is going to have arm length concerns, I know, and then you got a lot of nose tackles, which
Mhm.
not every team is going to be looking for. So I could see that like an outside flyer.
Okay, interesting. In this game, he was charted with 4 stop tackles. He's a player that I've actually started writing up his eval tonight. I'm trying to get an updated top 50 big board out tomorrow because of all of the players going back to school. I think
Mhm.
I scrapped like out of my top 50, I scrapped just real quick here. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 players out of my top 50 of players going back to school. So you got to go back and refresh it a little bit here. So I'm hoping to get that out tomorrow morning.
One of these days, like all of these tiny classes of underclassmen, one of these days it's going to catch up, and we're just going to get like a
I think
stacked
it's next
class.
year.
I think
I
next
think it's
year,
next year.
yeah.
Yeah, with all these juniors who would be first round picks this
I
year.
mean,
Who are
everyone
available.
everyone always complains about draft analysts talking about next year. I can just say I've never like looking ahead thought that a class looked so stacked the year
Mhm.
before. Obviously, like we'll see over the next few months. Kind of what the class is actually like when we dive into the tape. But yeah, 27 class should be phenomenal.
Yeah, at least at like skill positions, there's a lot of fun skill players in this
Tackle,
class. And tackle. Yeah, yeah. So The tackle class, actually, there's some freshmen in this that I'm just like, those freshmen, I would draft them in the
Oh,
top 10 if
the
they were.
Oklahoma kid.
The Oklahoma kid and Sanders, Tennessee, both those
Yeah.
guys, I'd be like, yeah, I'd take them early. But all right, Indiana defense as well. Just going back through, we talked about like this game is gonna ride more on Jacoby Thomas's draft stock than like any other player in the draft because like he's so up and down. And this was unfortunately for Jacoby Thomas, uh, perhaps as bad as it could have been for his draft stock, I think. Uh, he had the cheap shot on Mendoza early on that didn't get called. I think that'll get looked at by NFL teams as like, come on, man, what are you doing? And then when he has opportunities to kind of be in a position to make the play on ball carriers, I mean, the Becker one where he stepped out that it was initially called a touchdown, he just like kind of grabbed him by the hips and tried to punch the ball out, I think, but like was a pretty soft attempt, and then some downhill reps as well. Just not a pretty game from Jacoby Thomas.
Yeah, I think he's firmly a day 3 player. Yeah, I mean, I think NFL teams will definitely be turned off by like hesitating to fill the run versus Mendoza, in live action. Probably that juxtaposition, I'm sure they won't like. But yeah, I mean, I think in the secondary, did you notice anything from Keontae Scott? He's not in this class, but Frederic, he really impressed me for next year. I think he's the corner that they had. I think he's probably he's their third boundary corner. But I mean, he played outstanding in man coverage.
Yeah, I thought he got a little bit grabby towards like the top of the routes and stuff. He's the one who started because of Xavier, what's his name? Xavier Lucas,
right?
Had a targeting call, last week. So yeah, I think that's all I've got on Miami's defense. You got anything else before we flip to Indiana defense?
That's all I
got. All right, Indiana defense. You wanted to start with D'Angelo Pond, so I'll let you take the lead here to start off with Indiana's defense.
Yeah, I mean, Pons had 3 pass breakups, if I can remember them. He had the first one was like a stop curl route, a little bit grabby at the top of the route, but not a penalty. Definitely not by how they were calling him. He had that one where he kind of peeled off of his initial assignment to break up the hole shot. One of the best plays I've seen at like purposely avoiding a targeting or even trying to hurt the opposing receiver, like really did a great job of backing off and just playing the ball. And then, he had that other one in like cover 3 where it was kind of a jump ball, looked like Keelan Marion came down with it, but he was disruptive at the catch point, couldn't survive the grounds. And then some physical tackles and run support. I mean, he was all over the place.
Yeah, 3 stop tackles in this one. Targeted 7 times, gave up 2 catches for 23 yards and 3 pass breakups.
Yeah.
If this dude was 6 foot tall, would he be CB1 in this class?
Oh yeah,
an easy first round pick.
Yeah.
If
he was 5'10" and a half,
5'10",
yeah, and had just below average arm length.
I still think this is a top 50 player. I know he's 5'7" verified. Kick him into the nickel, and that's a day 1 starter. Like, I don't care. That dude, whenever he's like playing boundary corner and they're nubbing to his side and he has to fit the run, is one of the more fun corners to watch do it. Mm-hmm. When he's coming downhill, triggering downhill, dude, the dude missed 2 tackles all season long. Has a 3% missed tackle rate working back downhill. Like, the dude plays way bigger than 5'7". I again, the man coverage stuff I get, especially at the catch point, especially at the top of the line, the top of the routes, because bigger physical receivers do have the ability to just run straight through his face. Like it happened against Ohio State over and over again. No matter how his technique is,
he got eliminated by Markel Bell. Probably the biggest and smallest 2 players, non-kickers in the college football playoff, meeting one-on-one at the point of attack, had the expected result. Sorry, I just had to throw that in there.
Yeah, it's really funny. But again, especially a team that runs a lot of cover 1, cover 3, you kick him in the nickel, man. I think he's your ideal fit because you need those boys to be willing to sling into run fits because of how much nickel people run, even against base offenses, against 12 personnel. They're throwing nickels out there. you got to throw around a little bit, and he can, man. The movement skills are there, the technique is there, the ball skills are, uh, I think a little lacking down the field, but like triggering back downhill, I think they're good. Um, I like D'Angelo Pons. One of those things where size might be eliminated in my eval, and if I miss, I miss. Some of that will be accounted for by like verified measurables with the combine and how I kind of have like an upside elevator in draft grades. So uh, that'll probably weigh in as well. But like right now, I don't see 50 better players in this draft class than D'Angelo Pons.
Would you go Pons over Scott, Keontae Scott, I assume?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, I would. Yep.
Younger player. I think Pons is probably stickier in man coverage. Keontae Scott's more of just like a physical, presence along the line of scrimmage, but Pons is no slouch in run support, obviously.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there between Scott and Pons. Looking
Breaking
at
news. Breaking
yeah,
news.
more
Carter
breaking news.
Smith returns to Indiana.
Wow, geez, we're getting breaking news like crazy on this podcast. Good move, good call from Carter Smith there, as we just talked about. So awesome. I also thought that Devin Boykin had a really good game in this one as well.
Okay, I didn't notice him.
He had a big pass break up there on that, like the final drive of the game. Charted with one pass break up, and it came right there at the end. Did have a penalty, but
I was bent over
really
at the time,
game.
covering my face.
Yeah, I love it. And then obviously we could talk about those defensive tackles, Tucker and Landino, but I think we're going to be talking about them next year too. So I'm not too worried about talking to them right now. And then the last player I do want to shout out on this Indiana defense continues to just be Aiden Fisher, who I just think is way better than this like senior white linebacker stereotype that has kind of followed NFL draft prospects. And I've said it on past podcasts, but like the dude triggers really well. The dude's exceptional triggering. He showed a lot of gut blitzing in this game as well. Firm tackler and has way better coverage instincts than I would have ever thought that Aiden Fisher would have.
He's firmly in the exciting whites tier of linebackers. Yeah.
Yes.
I think 80 to 100 is probably the range I see him going. I mean, there was a play he mentioned, or someone else mentioned it in media day, where he was like, somebody asked him like his favorite play he made, and it was like not even one of my tackles. I pointed out the play to Elijah Hardy, the other linebacker, and he got a TFL. So I went back and watched it. I mean, his instincts are off the charts. Like you've said, the coverage range is probably like a B+. So I'm a big fan of Fisher in a linebacker class that is strong at the top, but really drops off after the top 4 or 5 guys.
Yeah, I think he is that 5th guy after those top 4 in this class. I have an early 4th round grade for him. He currently sits 57th on my board, so just outside that top 15. Again, I have a lot of players to still add to my board as we get into the more nitty gritty of this class. But man, I like Aiden Fisher quite a bit. Anything else from Indiana's defense you want to talk about?
Not really defensive, but Mikhail Kamara had the blocked punt. Difference in the game. I mean,
yeah,
man, honestly, this was like Miami clearly, I think, was the most evenly matched team that Indiana played. And I do think it's the kind of thing where, like, if there were 10 minutes left on the clock, I don't know how I wouldn't feel great about Miami marching down the field necessarily, but like, I don't think Indiana could have moved the ball on them if they needed 7. So
yeah,
that was the key.
I agree. And then flipping over then to the Miami offense, and this is how we'll kind of round out this instant analysis, this instant reaction. Again, Malachi Toney might have been the best player on the field for both teams in this game. Well, D'Angelo Pons. Outside of D'Angelo Pons, I think Malachi Toney might have been the best player on the field. What he can do it as a 17-year-old dude is unbelievable. I mean, there was even a ball over the middle that Beck put way inside, and he made a one-handed grab in traffic to reel that thing in. And it's just like the outside zone run to him. Like they figured like we just have to run the offense through Toney, and it wasn't a bad plan there down the stretch.
Yeah, they were able to kind of limit his yak a lot early in the first half, but they just kept feeding him. And I mean, yeah, he's a dynamic playmaker. Didn't even get him a pass attempt. But yeah, he's kind of like the Pablo Sanchez of their team. Just does a little bit of
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah, he does. That's a great shout. That's a great backyard baseball reference right there. I love that. Um, the other thing I'll point out Miami's offense here is just like you never hear Francis Moino's name on a broadcast. Never.
No,
And that's a good thing. That's an excellent thing. Like they are never
he
just like, oh
lost on
yeah,
a
there's
stunt,
Moino.
I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, yeah.
It's just like
Doesn't really
boringly good.
lose one-on-ones. He has some of the most decisive like drive blocking reps that you will see. I mean, can very fluid for his size, great zone blocker. Just like checks every single box except length, but like as a college player, I mean, he's so damn consistent.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Again, I think we're talking good tackle, great guard. That's the conversation
Yeah.
I keep having with Moinoa. Mark Fletcher said he's going back to school. I bet he goes back to school after this. They'll probably try to run it back with Mensa and see what they can do there. Continues to be a guy that I was just like, I would love to have in a committee. Like this is a committee back all day, every day, but a guy I want in my room. So that's a lot of fun there. How high? Okay. The Markel Bell conversation is really interesting to me because he is clunky, but he rarely gets beat in pass protection because he has great length and a really natural anchor. How high do you think that Markel Bell is going to get drafted this year's class? Specifically this year's class.
So I can tell you where I've got him in a second. I think it's definitely day 3. I might go 4th or 5th round. I think he does have more range than you would expect for his size, but really clunky changing directions. I've got a mid 5th on him. He's 166 on my board. Just like a non-impact in the run game, really. I've said it like several times, but you'll see him get some movement, but it really requires his left guard to kind of get the ball rolling because at 6'9", it's so much harder to get lower than his opponent.
Yeah.
So to me, he's kind of I see him as like a backup tackle that you could stick out there for like 2 to 3 weeks and be like, wow, Markel Bell's actually, holding up better than you would expect. But once teams kind of get tape on him and know how to isolate him and attack him, like, I just don't think he's a guy that you want out there, like, as your starting tackle full time. That would be hard for me to see.
That is the exact career trajectory of DeJuan Jones with the Cleveland Browns as well.
Yeah,
very good.
I'm literally thinking about DeJuan Jones tape with the Browns, like as I'm saying that, because I remember breaking down his film, doing a video for A to Z Sports, and like his early rookie tape was excellent. Like I thought he had like a real starter upside, and then just kind of steady downward slope.
Yeah, and now he's had 3 knee surgeries in 3 seasons in the NFL. So, or 2 seasons.
Yeah, that's
in
the
NFL.
other thing.
Yeah, that's rough. And then Inez Cooper and James Brockermeyer, the other 2 offensive linemen to shout out here, and I think that's probably where well, we'll talk about Beck a little bit too, but that's where the majority of the conversation on Indiana's offense ends as well. Here is Cooper and Brockermeyer.
Yeah, I can tell you more after watching the tape, but didn't take any notes on them.
So I could tell you just based off of, again, PFF's live grades, which is what we've got at this point, they all graded out very well in pass pro. They all graded out, besides Moinoa, as very poor run blockers. So that's what we're looking at here. Anything else from Miami's offense before we have the Carson Beck come to Jesus conversation? I don't know if it is much of a come to Jesus conversation, but
yeah, let's get into it.
So the tape was like, okay, you're raising the floor. You're a mid-level like a mid-tier, like a mid-round quarterback prospect. The arm is like Connor Shaw level arms at this point.
Yeah.
Plus, he's not a good athlete. I will probably like what I would do as a GM and what my NFL draft grade will be on Carson Beck will be 2 different conversations. I think if I had to guess right now, I will have a late 5, early 6 round grade on Carson Beck. If I were an NFL GM, I might altogether say, like, I don't know what value that guy brings to my room even as a backup quarterback.
Yeah, the processing is just not sharp enough to offset the complete lack of traits. And especially with the arm deteriorating since his surgery. Yeah, I just don't really see a lot of NFL upside with him.
No. So maybe that wasn't a come to Jesus moment. Maybe that was like a common sense
Yeah.
conversation that we just needed to reiterate because people were like, "Oh, he's really boosting his stock in this playoff run." But it's like, this is the same Carson Beck that's been on tape all season. Like watch the Ohio State game and he had an ADOT of like 7 yards. It wasn't anything spectacular. But yeah, I think that's where we very firmly sit with Beck at this point. Good college career. His college career's over now, finally. But yeah, nothing more than a good college quarterback, I think is what is where the conversation's gonna end with Carson Beck. Anything else you want to shout out here? You want to take another victory lap? Anything like that?
Man, that's all I got. I'm off to go listen to every single post-game reaction show on the internet.
I love it.
For the next 3 days.
Yeah, that's great. I love it. Again, James and I we'll put out a mock draft and probably some other like low thought episodes this week as we prepare for Shrine. So like daft drafts and a mailbag, so something like that are very.
We can do like a preview.
Yeah, or a Shrine preview as well. Because we are starting to prep a lot for Shrine, which is coming up. I'm flying out Thursday morning. We'll get there Thursday afternoon, and then we've got media availabilities and we've got a lot of cool stuff planned for YouTube for that. So I might be able to compile some stuff and do like a podcast compilation episode of all of the different stuff or something cool like that. But that's all I've got, man. Until next time, this has been another episode of the Daft on Draft podcast. See ya.